What's up, everybody? I have some E-MTBR news today for you guys, and I'm here in my other studio. It's my day job. I have RC Review. I also have another channel called Drone Tech Review. I review all kinds of stuff, but my love for the past 30 years is bikes and e-bikes. So we have some news. November now, jacket season. Make sure you're carrying your jacket and your lights on your bike rides. And the first news is about Santa Cruz, as they have announced that the parent company, Pawn Holdings or Pawn Bike, is closing their brand new assembly plant in Mainz, Germany, in 2025. They're going to shut it down. It is a plant set to produce Cervelo in Santa Cruz, and I think Santa Cruz is a bigger part of the solution. He just opened this facility in 2022 in Germany. I didn't know bike companies still produced in Europe, but I guess they do, which is kind of cool. And this is kind of sad. They were going to grow it to 100 people, produce 30,000 bikes. That's not going to happen anymore. I think there's 80 people there now. They're going to lay them off. And then moving forward, the Pawn Bikes will produce Santa Cruz bikes in their assembly plant in Emstech in Lower Saxony of Germany. Okay? So unfortunate incident, but I think the writing was on the wall. A lot of inventory at the Santa Cruz factory in Santa Cruz, so you can't be producing much, while this thing's going on. Also, a little footnote here was they're shutting down the Santa Cruz RockShox Pro team. So their professional bike team gonna get shut down. That's a big one because they've always had the best athletes. And then no news on this, but I'm just always thinking in the back of my mind, what's going to happen to Juliana? Juliana is their women's bike brand. That's expensive and whatnot. I don't think that has a future anymore. Let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen there. So big bad news because it's Santa Cruz. It's a big brand, and they've had difficulty this last year. Everything's on sale. On the bright side, I did review their new bike, the Santa Cruz Vala, and you could tell I have two videos on it now. Right here, I did an analysis on the bike before I rode it, and then I rode it. Basically, there's a lot riding on the ride quality of this bike because they were willing to change everything, to gain back their leadership advantage. And the two things they changed were the motor system. Longtime Shimano user, they are moving to Bosch, and that's a very important and needed move because Shimano is no longer competitive at the moment. If you are a premier brand competing on the very high end, Bosch is the way to go. They have CX-5 now, and that's what they're going with. So I rode it, and the good news. So a lot of also they changed VPP. No more VPP on this e-bike. It's 4-bar horse link. So it's they're getting hungry again. They're willing to change everything. And I rode it, and in a nutshell, 5 out of 5. Just a big shred ride, and it's amazing. So not cheap. 8,000, 7,500 to 13 grand, but at least now I think it puts them back in the top 3 riding bikes out there for e-bikes. Next piece of news is about GoPro. Good news? No, there's no GoPro good news. So they said earlier this year they were going to lay off 12% of the staff. Now it's 25% of staff. So it's nothing but bad news. They sold 114 of their patents to Skydio. I think they had over 1,000 at one point. So they're selling off their assets. That's not a good thing, especially patents. Who does that? Skydio, if you don't know, they are a various drone company for the military, but they are, I think, the devil. Because what they do, they do a lot of lobbying, and they're trying to ban DJI from ever selling a drone in the United States. Why? Because they want the market for themselves. So they're doing it with government intervention and not by doing competitive product. Their product is not competitive with DJI in the consumer market. I do have their Skydio, and it's okay, but it's so old they can't even update it. All right, GoPro. Back to GoPro. Q3 revenue is down by 12%, and I did some research on it. They're a $200 million company now with their stock price, with a high of 14. Their stock price is now $1.40. And the biggest mystery to me is why they haven't fired their CEO, their founder, the CEO. You're supposed to get rid of him, once they screw up. There's 5 years of screwing up, and they still hanging on with him. Why do you have a marketing guy in charge of a technology company? And because of that, they can't come up with any good technology. And really, the writing's on the wall of their demise because their core product, they've tried to enter many businesses, they've all failed. The core product is the GoPro, the Hero 13, 14, whatever. They put it up against the DJI. DJI just decided to make an action camera, and the DJI is better in almost all respects. So that's GoPro for you. Not necessarily a bike company, but I think we all are near and dear to us because as bikers, they capture our rad adventure. And then when we look at it, it's not that rad, but it's keepsake anyway. All right. Another piece of news is TPC, the Pros Closet, an 18-year-old company that shut down, went bankrupt. Chapter 7, I think, sold everything. Is the brand is back in business. So too much expenses for a used bike seller, and took $70 million in funding. So they sold everything, their bike stands and whatnot, and a company called L Share bought the assets with the brand, especially. There's a new CEO. So it's a private equity company, Yashir L Share. That's not a good thing. You're naming the company after you. Founded in Scottsdale, Arizona, and they own a bunch of businesses, sorry, Fragrant Jewels, oliveoil.com, Jane.com, and now TPC, the Pros Closet. So it's good that they're open. There's a need that needs to be filled, but obviously this is just a private equity company, that doesn't know anything about the business. Hopefully he'll hire the right people, make it lean and mean, and keep service this market. All right. Another piece of bad news is Yamaha e-bikes is shutting down operations or retracting from the market in the United States. So Yamaha e-bikes, Yamaha motorcycles is the brand. Everyone respects them, and they've been making motors for a lot of years, 8 to 10 years. Great motors. So they said, 4 or 5 years ago, hey, let's make our own e-bike, e-mountain bike, and they did. And 400 dealers, YDX Moro is the popular one, about 4 years old, and then now all of a sudden September 5, they had everything on sale, everything, like no exception, 50% off, 40 to 60% off. I was like, whoa. And then so a lot of people bought them. Yeah, even nobody talks about Yamaha in the Bay Area because their bikes are just not that good. And I'll talk a little bit about that. And everyone was buying them, but so I feel bad for the people who bought them, not knowing they're going to get shut down. Now, if you're going to buy them on sale, 60% off or whatever, at least they're going to get shut down. As far as warranty, the company's, luckily it's a solid company, and they're going to continue to stock parts and honor the warranties. They said for the 5-year warranty. So I don't know how true that is. I don't know how available, how long you have to wait, who's gonna change your motor for you. But they want to do customers right as they liquidate all this inventory. So if you want a good deal, get a Yamaha bike. Why don't I like Yamaha bikes? They're okay. They're priced premium, but they're so ugly. And you can't. It proves. It goes to the saying: you can't sell a high bike looking 5 years ago. Like it looks like a permutation. Like the old. Everyone went through this, where they went through monstrosities of bikes. Everyone wants an e-bike that looks like a bike. But their bikes are still. They look so wrong. The geometry is not there. Suspension. But the motor itself is awesome. It's awesome. It's the basis for, I believe, all Giant motors. Giant just put their own firmware and app on it, but it's a very solid motor in a sea of bad motors out there. So Yamaha, what they're gonna do worldwide is to be determined. But tough one. Hopefully they'll focus on motors and really improve their motors. Not a lot of changes in the motors, and that's really what they need to be doing. Good news, couple of good news. One is Fox Factory Bike division is now up 40%. 40% is good. I know you guys haven't been buying, Fox suspension here and there, but what that means is the OEM, they're starting to buy again and starting to spec them for their new bikes that are coming out. Definitely, all these e-bikes, they need the latest Fox stuff. They've improved quite a bit. They got hungry as well. The RockShox stuff is pretty darn good as well. All right. Another piece of good news, maybe I'll close with this, is REI is now an authorized service partner of Canyon Bicycles. Okay, so that's key, very key. And I think a good move, an important move. Canyon, like YT and all these guys, you need someone locally to help you out because e-bikes break. The controller breaks, the wire snaps, the motors break, and you need someone to service it. You want to be using this for the next 5 years, not just a flyby. And it's hard. It's hard. I've had a couple friends with Canyon. I recommended them they buy the bike, and it won't turn on or it shuts off after a jump, and those are hard problems to solve. You need to have an expert look at it. Speaking of experts, is REI going to be an expert in it? Their bike division is not necessarily that good, and REI is not necessarily doing good either. So they're both hungry. So hopefully they'll get going on this. At least you'll have some place to take your e-bike to when there's a problem and help you out. All right. So that is all for now. Take the jackets out, go for a ride, and have fun. Thanks a ton.